please. There is been exciting things to report. Next slide, please. So looking at why we have Deaf Rainbow UK, it was originally set up as a Facebook group in 2018, and it was set up to support the deaf LGBTIQA plus community through informing, representing and supporting. It was originally called Deaf LGBTIQA plus, but through a national consultation, it was renamed as Deaf Rainbow UK. It is now registered as a charity, which happened in November 2020, so fairly recent. Now, the Facebook group was led by Tyrone Wolf, and when the group became registered as a charity, he became our first chairperson. He stepped down in December 2021 and handed over the baton to me through a voting system. Next slide. So at that last AGM, we said goodbye to Tyrone and other trustees. Next slide. But then we welcomed 4 new trustees: Jamie, Tammy, Davy, and Chris. Next slide. And since then, there have been a few changes. Tammy is now our vice chairperson, and she is there to support me with the running of our charity. Davy left the charity back in October. Hannah is stepping down. Today is her last day, and we're sad about that. Next slide. Looking at our trustees, we meet every month to discuss and plan Deaf Rainbow UK going forward. That includes discussing, planning workshops, events, partnerships with other charities, finance, fundraising, recruiting volunteers, and much more. Next slide. So when I became chair back in December, I looked at our charity, its infrastructure, and how we can take the charity forward, bearing in mind that the trustees are a group of volunteers. It is unpaid, but will also have other commitments with family, work, sports, and time for holidays. So they dedicate a lot of time with the day-to-day management. And what I thought was important is that trustees are supporters in their voluntary role, so that they can also manage the other daily commitments. So I have developed the following. Next slide. Supervision for one-to-one meetings with myself, to have conversation, to add value, any concerns, any problems, and just ensuring that each trustee can develop their role. Subcommittee groups are developed to focus on individual projects so that our own trustee meetings are not so intense. And also the creation of application forms for future trustees and volunteers to ensure that the right people are being recruited. Now, more information will be given about this in the Secretary's report. Next slide. Next slide. Next slide. Okay. There's also been new policies developed to protect our trustees and volunteers, such as the Code of Conduct. Further policies will be developed in due course. And also, I wanted our trustees to feel valued and recognized as members of our charity. Hence the reason for developing these T-shirts with our logo. Next slide. Now, to date, looking at what our trustees have done, they have done so much, which I'm now happy to show you. Next slide. Now, a group of us went to the BSL rally that was held on the 18th of March to support the British Sign Language Act. So I, Callum, went to that rally, and it was fantastic to be able to lend our support. Next slide. Callum and I also went to Deaf Day in London, that's based at City Lit, whereby we had a stall, spoke to many people who came to our stall, and so many did not know about a charity. And we had over 150 people that came to our stall. We had the publication of leaflets, of which 200 were given out, so hugely successful that day. The trustees also had a day to talk about our future, and we had an away day on May the 7th in Birmingham, our first get together. Unfortunately, Jamie could not join us that day, but we spoke about our roles, the company structure, detailed on our website. Next slide. And also, the biggest event of this year was Deafab, that was held in Bristol over a weekend. We had workshops, local get-togethers, and dinner and drama and entertainment. Next slide. Our workshops consisted of 5 different topics: sexual identities, 30 attenders; queer TV, 25 attenders; safe dating, 23 attenders; youth coming out, 19 attended; drag tips and makeup, 12 attended. All were successful, and more successful than anticipated. Next slide. So these are photographs of our workshops, and as you can see, they were great. Next slide. 91 tickets were sold for our dinner and entertainment that took place in the evening. Hugely successful, very enjoyable, lots of laughter, so good. And here are some photographs of that evening. Next slide. Now, there is an exciting announcement. Deaf Rainbow UK have agreed to take over Deafab. It was originally run by Richard Carter and Ian Glover. Both had been managing Deafab for 10 years. Both are stepping down, and we agreed to take it over under our umbrella. So what is going to happen next? That will be revealed soon in the Secretary's report. Now, I have to make a special mention. Our thoughts will be with our deaf LGBT plus community across the world who are not as fortunate like the UK, such as those experiencing poverty, not being able to escape from war, unable to express who they are for a whole range of other reasons. We welcome any of those in those positions. Now, we were fortunate in being able to welcome Dimi Praikoto, who is a deaf and gay from the Ukraine. So our support was part of inviting Dima to come to our Deafab. And we believe this is why Deafab needs to continue, because no matter what your situation, we must come together, work together, support each other. Now, this is Dima, who was very grateful to Deafab. Next slide. Oh, and we had another exciting event, and that was to be part of London Pride. It was a great day. It was sunny. The atmosphere was just fantastic. And what was also great was that we had the gay times. So from what you can see is that they gave us attention. They highlighted our charity. Next slide. Now, we've had several events, but as well as that, we have also done partnerships and collaborations with other charities to develop projects and support to ensure that Deaf Rainbow can continue by informing, representing, and supporting. And we've worked hard to explore this further. We have done this with RAD, which is the Royal Association for Deaf People, and engaging with them on a project for deaf LGBT plus, and they have agreed to fund us £20,000, and we will appoint a part-time officer up to 2023 to develop 12 videos covering different topics such as domestic violence, gay pride, dating, and we are looking at other topics as well. So it's also developing awareness, information, and training for organizations across the UK. This is simply amazing. Moving on to Sign Video, we are engaging with them. You may have seen this on Facebook and Twitter, where they've developed a video covering different issues such as introducing pride, tips for queers, tips for parents, family and friends, and other topics. This is still being developed, and there will be more that will be presented on our website, Facebook and Instagram. So we are very grateful to Sign Video for this. Moving on to Sign Health. We are engaging with them on different topics of importance to us. We have the Power and Control Wheel for people in relationships, and also monkeypox. So working in collaboration with them on videos to ensure that information is accessible to all. Next slide.
Are you ready to swap?
Thank you. Thank you. Okay.
Future collaborations. We've got a lot of things, relationships to build for the future. People are interested to work with us. One or two plans that collaborations been working on, and so watch this space. It's really exciting. So Deaf Rainbow UK have got a clear collaboration, and they'd like to inform, represent, and support the LGBTQ+ community. If you feel you'd like to work with Deaf Rainbow UK, please let us know. Next slide, please. Next slide. Okay, so what's next? We need to research how to move forward and get pathway through to create our informing, representing, and supporting. So Michelle, our secretary, will explain more about that later. And we will talk about a report later. And now over to Michelle to explain the secretary's report now. Thank you. Hello. So I'm going to show you, lay out our plan for the coming year. So the last few months, we've been sending lots of emails and then lots of developing our policies. for our trustees. And we've created a new banner of a new board for the trustees to be involved in. We need to make sure the right people are in the right role. So we are doing some shifting around. So we're setting up a committee meeting to plan and get people booked into the right roles. There's some things I'm going to lay out on the screen, some things we're going to hand out, very similar to Deaf Day. But so Deaf Rainbow UK, this is what we're planning to do moving forward as a charity. So Paul, our chairperson, has been talking about what we've been up to in the last 12 months since he took on the role. Paul explained about the infrastructure of the charity, and explained our new goals of informing, representing and supporting the community. So we inform, represent and support, but I'll explain what that means more in the next slide. So our mission. So it's to inform everyone, to supply informational facts. So, and then we make sure we're representing you, to speak positively of you as a community. And we want to make sure that we're encouraging everybody to get involved and to succeed. Next slide, please. So how can Deaf Rainbow UK inform, represent and succeed? So through deaf LGBT awareness training, through workshops covering different subjects that are important to you, through events such as Deaf Day or London Pride, or through our website and our social media platforms. We've developed plans for the next year, 2023 and beyond. Next slide, please. So 2023 and beyond. So Deafab is coming to a close, and we will be taking over, and they'll be coming under Deaf Rainbow UK. So Deaf Rainbow UK have taken over Deafab to make sure that all deaf LGBT people can meet and they can be informed, represented and supported. Deaf Rainbow UK has announced that after a successful weekend in Bristol recently, that they were successful. They wanted us to come back again. There'll be two different versions, though. There'll be a Deafab, which is smaller, and a big Deafab as well. So the small Deafab will have, it's like a small festival for socially meeting new people, making new friends. And it's important that deaf people from all over the UK can come together to make friends and meet each other and have a chat. So that's one of the plans for 2023. We'll let you know more information as we're about tickets and things in the future. Next slide, please. So Big Deafab will be the same as the one that was in Bristol this year. And it should be every 2 years. So 1 year we'll have small Deafab, the next year we'll have big Deafab. And it will rotate like that. And it will include workshops, social gatherings, dinner, entertainment, and stalls as well. And other features will be included as well, so deaf LGBT plus exhibitions, etc. Lots of things. And that one will be in 2024, so we'll inform you of details of that nearer the time. Next slide, please. So 2023 and beyond, we'll have Deaf Sisters. So this was set up in 2002 by Tammy Brooksum and Anne-Marie Riley and Lynn Stewart-Taylor. And it was to create a deaf safe space for deaf lesbians. And their first event was a weekend away in Brighton. and that ran for 10 years. And they had a final ball in Brighton again. Well, a lot of people will be interested in Deaf Sisters coming back, and now we have Deaf Rainbow UK. We've agreed to offer the support. So stay tuned for more details again. Next slide, please. So Deaf Rainbow UK is aware that workshops are really important, and for the deaf LGBTQIA+ community, so that everyone's got the opportunity to be informed, represented, and to learn how to be supported. So that we're excited that to announce that in 2023 there will be more workshops following these small social events. So please stay tuned for more information on that. Next slide, please. So prides across the UK. So we had London Pride, that was fantastic. And we represent the deaf community from across the UK there. And our plan is to go to different prides this year. Obviously, it's not possible to go to all of them because there are so many prides, but we will pick a few. And we'll focus on England, one in Wales, and we're making sure we get to one in Scotland as well. And one in Northern Ireland as well, to make sure that everybody has representation. Stay tuned for more information. Next slide, please. So other opportunities in 2023. So for representation support, to reform representative support. So we'll have a deaf events to showcase across the UK. And we're reaching out to the deaf LGBTIAQ+ community as well. We'll be going to Deaf Day London, Norfolk Deaf Festival. And if you know of other events that you think would be useful for Deaf Rainbow UK to go to, please let us know. Next slide, please. So Deaf Rainbow UK's website. It was reviewed to ensure it was meeting the current needs of its users, and if there was anything that we needed to change. We realised there's a few things that did need to be improved. Some of the accessibility was not perfect, so we're looking into how to alter that, and we'll introduce some new features for accessibility, making information more accessible. Having information translated into BSL is important, but also we need to make sure the site is easy to navigate. Next slide, please. And Deaf Rainbow UK's social media, they have YouTube, we've got Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. And so we'd love some volunteers, anyone would like to get involved to help with creating or developing anything for those websites. If you're interested, please could you let me know. Next slide, please. So now this is Deaf Rainbow UK's support. How can we support different groups? Because other groups have been set up for a long time. The trustees first need to consider what it is that is needed. And so example, if you've got Brothers and Sisters Club in London, it's a well-known deaf LGBTIQA+ club. And it was set up nearly 45 years ago. And there's also the Welsh Deaf Cymraeg Pride in Wales, and currently one person manages that, so we're collaborating with them. We're trying to offer some support to develop these groups. If you think there's an organisation that could use some support from the Deaf Rainbow UK, please can you let us know, and we'll try and get in touch. Next slide, please. So we do need your help. We've got lots of plans for Deaf Rainbow UK in the future, but we can't do this without you, and we need more volunteers to help set up, develop, and manage all these things. So we've got the Deafab event in 2023, the big Deafab event in 2024. Sorry, 2024. Yeah, make sure I get that right. And then we've got Deaf Sisters workshops. Taking part in the Pride parades across the UK to make sure that Deaf Rainbow UK is represented. volunteers to represent Deaf Rainbow UK events such as Deaf Day, and also support with our social media platforms, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, etc. If you think you could help with any of those, please let me know, and we can have a look at what you can do. So now, taking Deaf Rainbow UK forward. So to take us forward, the charity needs to consider costs, paying for the website to be revamped, for developing the workshops, setting up events and covering any travel expenses. Our treasurer, he will reveal in his report how Deaf Rainbow UK's income and outgoing expenditure are affected and how we can bring in more money. If you do have any questions, please let me know. And you can contact us or anyone at Deaf Rainbow UK using the hello@deafrainbowuk.org.uk email. Thank you. Now over to our treasurer to do the treasury reports.
Salome, I'll be able to take over.
Okay, yeah.
Lovely. Okay. Hi there. I am the treasurer guy. I can spend money on holidays, but on a serious note, it is about ensuring that there's income and expenditure for all of our events, and ensuring that there is money to ensure that there's deaf accessibility throughout the UK. Next slide, please. So as you will see from the chart ahead, there will be a difference in income and expenditure 2021 to 2022, 22 to 23, and you will see it being different. There will be a 3-month difference in both years. Just a second, I'm just going to read the slide, just a moment. So outgoing expenses was about making videos accessible, including captioning, in-vision and voiceover, covering the cost of leaflets, you know, and there's the purchase of our new t-shirts. So thanks to Paul for that new idea, covering travel expenses so that we can attend events, and our away days, administration costs have also been involved, and to the Zoom license, which is cheaper than having to travel for every time. So a cheaper way for us to come together. Income has been done through our Facebook, which was done for the first time, and that was our birthday fundraiser. Also, some are providing us with regular standing order donations. So if you would like to donate, please do let us know. We've also been in receipt of a grant and sponsorships from Sign Video. And quite recently, we received quite a big grant that Paul just mentioned earlier of £20,000 from the LGBTIQA Hub. Next slide, please. So as you can see, this is our income in green. So the 20,000 is our grant, and the rest, if I can see it, is 3,743 from the sale of the Deafab tickets. The other is 500, which was a sponsorship. So there are small donations that we received either as regular or one-off donations. Next slide. And here you can see our expenditure. So you can see the difference here. So there was the expenditure for Deafab, trustee expenses, core expenses, technology, improving the website to ensure it's accessible, and other small banking charges, as well as the bank charges. So that's what you can see in terms of our total expenditure. Next slide. So this is to compare last year with this year. And obviously you can see the biggest income, and that is one large grant that we've got from RAD to ensure that we have a very successful one-year project, including a part-time administrator. But we have still 3 months remaining for this year, and hopefully we will see an increase. Now, we have been busy attending different events, so you can see the costings there, which is part of core. And then there was the sale of the Deafab tickets, so we can hope to see an increase in that in next year's finances. In terms of expenditure, we have spent considerably less in comparison to last year. We are hopeful that next year there will be more expenditure in improving accessibility, organizing of more events, and also hoping for more donations to enable us to organize more events. Our core expenses were far less than it was last year. We came together a lot more this last year in comparison to this year. Distance is a consideration. Now, last year we had 2 grants, of which was spent. And then this year we've just received our recent grant. So you will see a difference again next year. And then with Deafab, there's also the stalls, the food, to cover the sale of the ticket costs. So that's what you see there. Next slide. Now, we, Deaf Rainbow UK, rely on donations and grants to cover our expenses, events, accessibility, as well as developing and improving to ensure that accessibility is easier for other deaf people's lives. Not everyone lives in London. There's one in Scotland, one in Wales, one in Nottingham, and Bristol. So our trustees live in different places. So, and there's the cost of travel to consider. So Zoom enables us to meet, but if there are more donations, we could meet more often in person, organize more events. Oh, and just go back to the previous website. And also there's the revamping of the website. That is important because we want to make it more accessible. And just to let you know that this is not cheap. We need money to improve our website, captioning, interpreters, voiceover, all of that is of cost. So you can help us to improve for the better. In terms of donations, no matter how small or big, be it one-off or be it regular, will be appreciated. You could perhaps offer us a sponsorship. Maybe you could organize a fundraising event to raise money on our behalf. And if you want to know how, please do let me know, and we can provide you with assistance with the fundraising. And again, one-off fundraising, regular standing orders, let us know and we can provide you with the support. And we've also provided you with the email address for you to contact us. So finally, I want to say thank you to everyone for your support, your donations, to ensure that we can continue to fight for accessibility. Hope to see you all next year.